Which of the following best describes what is studied in thermochemistry? The correct answer is C, heat changes. Which of the following best describes the law of conservation of energy? The correct answer is D, because the law of conservation of energy is the first law of thermodynamics and states the energy is neither created nor destroyed. Which of the following best describes chemical potential energy? The correct answer is B. And the chemical potential energy depends on the types of atoms and their arrangement. Which of the following is the SI unit for energy and heat? The correct answer is D, joule. Which of the following is the equation for calculating heat? The correct answer is D, Q for energy, and M for mass, C for specific heat capacity, and delta T is the temperature change. Is the name of the insulated device that is used to measure the amount of heat absorbed or released during a chemical or physical process? Of course, it's the calorimeter, C. What are two basic forms of energy? Of course, the answer is B, potential and kinetic energy. Which of the following is not true of enthalpy? The correct answer is C. It's the measure of temperature. Of course, we know that the enthalpy is the measure of total energy, not the temperature. And temperature is the measure of the average kinetic energy of the particles. The chemical reaction that occurs in a heat pack is exothermic. What is true of the enthalpy change for the reaction? The correct answer is B. It's less than 0. It's negative. Identify the equation that defines the enthalpy of reaction. The answer is B. Which of the following is included in a thermochemical equation? The correct answer is all of the above, because the physical states of the reactants and products, they are represented by the lowercase letters between parentheses, G for gas, L for liquid, and S for solid. And also a balanced chemical equation, the same number of atoms before and after the reaction, and also the change in enthalpy, exothermic or endothermic delta H. Which of the following has a positive change in enthalpy? The correct answer is B, vaporizing water, because the liquid absorbs thermal energy to become a gas. Also, melting is endothermic, but condensation, freezing, and combustion is releasing heat, so they are exothermic. Which of the following is true for enthalpy of combustion? Of course, the answer is B. It's negative for propane. What is the name of the law that states that if you can add two or more thermochemical equations to produce a final equation for a reaction, then the sum of the enthalpy changes for the individual reactions is the enthalpy change for the final reaction. The correct answer is C, Hess's law. A student reversed the chemical equation below. What is the corrected change in enthalpy for the reversed equation? Of course, it's B. It's positive 297 kilojoule. What is true of the standard enthalpy of formation of elements in their standard states? Of course, it's 0. Because basically we know that the enthalpy of formation measures the energy change when 1 mole of a compound is formed from its elements in their standard states. But here the substance is already an element. There's no formation, so the enthalpy of formation is 0. Which of the following equations summarizes how standard enthalpies of formation combine to produce a desired equation and its standard enthalpy? The correct answer is A, because the enthalpy change for the reaction equals the summation of the enthalpy change of formation for products minus for the summation for reactants. What is not a true spontaneous process? The correct answer is D, because a spontaneous process is one that, once begun, proceeds on its own without continuous outside intervention. What is the symbol for the entropy? Of course, it's S. And entropy is the measure of disorder or randomness. The second law of thermodynamics states that the spontaneous processes always proceed in such a way that the entropy of the universe of course increases.